Alright folks, welcome to another Premodern Showdown. This is going to be the single elimination event run by the Magic Online Society, which we qualify by doing well in 2 leagues in a row. I am still trying out. If you watch my previous video, you will see that I'm playing the exact same 75, and the reason for that is I did really well with this deck in the challenge, and I want to tune it and make it even better. I wanted to try a couple of things, and I made a couple of changes since then. If you did watch the other video, then you can skip this part probably, but I'm gonna go over the changes again real quick. First thing that I did is I adjusted the mana base. I wanted to make sure that I only had exactly 1 mountain in my deck and 3 basic forests to be able to fetch for. This is because redundant mountain is effectively a dead card. So the way to fix this was by, well, making this change, but I still wanted to make sure that I had access to red sources, and then the way to fix that would be to cut the Tranquil Thicket and add a Forgotten Cave instead. This kept my sources exactly the same, but this also gave me the option of having a 3rd basic forest. The problem with that was that my original list was playing Lightning Bolt, which the main reason for it would be to kill Lucky on turn 1. So while doing that, I would also cut down on my red sources. So what I did is I just entirely circumvented that issue, and instead of playing Lucky, I am playing instead Pyroclasm and Earthquake as the sweepers. This means that even though I have an ETB tapped red source, I can still cast Pyroclasm and Earthquake on turn 2 and then kill both the Lucky and whatever the Lucky may have put into play. If it's a 2/2, obviously I'm going to have to skip 1 more turn, but like it's still doable. That was the thought process there. You will also see that there's no Stone Rain. The reason for that is that with this mana base, it's actually easier to have green than to have red. And even though that's a little bit arguable, there's the fact that in post-Hybrid the games, very often we will want to, for example, Winter's Grasp and then protect that spell with a Pyroblast, especially against control decks, which would make it really hard to make a red to protect the Stone Rain instead of a green plus a red mana source, which would allow us to, you know, play a Thermocars and leave red open and then just Pyroblast whatever counterspell they have. So that's the reason for that the change. You will see no Stone Rains. Also, Stone Rain gets Hydroblasted, which it's not exciting. Besides that, it is the same deck list that I played in the challenge. If you didn't check that out, that video, I recommend you do so. It was an insane run. I just went 6-0 in the Swiss, and then I also took the event down, winning 3 in a row as well. So the Cyber is exactly the same that I had in that event, so no changes over there. But yeah, very stoked about this deck list. I think it's very strong, and let's see if we can make a run for it in the showdown as well. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you for the very first round. Right, what do we got here? Ooh, this is a great start to this round. Yes, turn 1 Library/Oath against Fyndhorn Elves. Well, this is definitely an Oath matchup. Oh, and we top deck Earthquake. Hell yeah. Ooh, baby. Coming in hot. Let's see what my opponent's gonna do about it. Quirion Ranger. You got it. And then what? Whatever they play here, we can just Earthquake anyway. Priest. Yep. We're definitely gonna Earthquake after we trigger this Oath. Especially after they use Quirion to untap the forest. Hopefully whatever Terror War we put into play will survive my Earthquake for 1. Oath. Let's make it big boy. That's a 4/4 Terror War. Okay. Could be worse. I could make it a 5/5, but I don't think I want to. I think I'd rather have the Treetop Village and let's Earthquake for 1. I just need to make sure that my opponent doesn't, you know, get out of hand with their Priest. Also, now they do get an Oath trigger, but they're super short on mana, and also, like, hopefully this Oath grows to my Terror as well. I really doubt it in terms of percentages, but next turn I think I'm probably gonna be swinging. Okay, so they get a 3 Quirion Ranger. Not bad. Not bad. The good thing is, like, if they develop that, then I just trigger Oath again. So this Earthquake was pretty good at just like a time walk of sorts. Oath you, and we get grow Terror War by 3. So here we can, if we wasteland our own thing, we can put my opponent on a 2-turn clock. I guess I can do that. I already have that anyway. So yeah, I think we just serve with Treetop Village and just swing for 10. 10, yeah. I really doubt my opponent's going to have main deck Tormod Script. Plays Fyndhorn Elves. I mean, I don't know if there's anything they can draw to get out of this. At this point, they have maximum 3 mana. Oh, I guess they could have Cradle. If they go Cradle, I guess they can cast Deranged Hermit. But then I'm going to trigger Oath again. These are going to be at least 9/9s because of the Wasteland. So I don't think my opponent's got any outs. Yep, okay. Game number 2. Definitely want the extra pyroclasms. I think I want to cut Winter's Grasps. Probably Sphere is better than the Winter's Grasp. Cursed Totem also pretty decent. The question is, do I want Thermokarst over... Oh, I want Furnace for sure. Furnace for sure, maybe over one Sphere. And I think that's it. We have 2 Naturalizes. Until I know whether my opponent's playing Tangled Wire or not, I don't think I want more Naturalizes. Maybe a third one, because they could have, what's the name, Masticore. So maybe that's a reason to play a third Naturalize over Sphere. But once we're on the play again, I'm definitely going to go up to 4 Spheres. Probably cutting a Naturalize and maybe another Thermokarst. This is turn 2 Oath. Is that good enough? We'd love to have access to like a Pyroclasm of sorts. Turn 1 Fetch into Llanowar. That's a good draw. That is a good draw. All right, so I think I actually pitched the Factory here so that we have guaranteed green. Let's play the Oath. Yeah, that was probably the best possible draw. Even if my opponent naturalizes the Oath, we still get library, a library trigger. So my opponent needs to naturalize right now. Second Feignhorn into Cradle. And they do have the Naturalize. We play on then. If we have a land, I'm just going to blow up the Cradle. If we find the land off the top here. Okay, yep. So let's not mess around here. Just gonna blow up the Cradle. Just too many ways that can backfire, right? If my opponent has access to so much mana. Yavimaya Granger gets another basic. Okay, it's a good draw. Do I want to library? I think I want to library here, actually. Because this Pyroclasm is only going to kill 2 Feignhorn Elves, right? Because I don't think my opponent's going to pay Echo on the... Oh, they are! Very interesting. Well, now this Pyroclasm is like a time walk, effectively. Treetop Village, not bad. Mox Diamond Wasteland. So I could do everything here. Play Mox, pitch in Treetop, and I just play Terravor into Pyroclasm. This seems worth doing. So play Mox, pitch Treetop, play Wasteland, and we just go super aggro here. Blow up the board, play a Terravor. And now next turn we get to just play another Terravor. We also get to look at 3 fresh new cards. Naturalize the library. Yeah, I already have what I need, so here's... So I guess if I Wasteland myself, we swing for 6 here, down to 13, and then we have lethal next turn. So I think that seems worth doing. So we're gonna Wasteland the Carplucent Forest, and we can force my opponent to chump next turn. Priest of Titania is a chump blocker. Unless they have Crumble, which I can also play around. So let's play around Crumble, mostly because I can. Because I think guaranteeing the chump block is much more valuable than just denying my opponent of 1 mana for their turn when they have no cards they could have. They can get them out of this. Find the basic mountain, but I don't think that's going to be enough. All right, cool. Got there. 2-0. Here we go, round number 2. Playing against Paradixum Levis. It's been doing super well in these events. I think I want to keep this. It's a fine opener. Turn 1 Treetop and send it back. Wasteland. It's pretty bad for me. I'm gonna lead on Factory and then see what comes up next. We do not want to see Weather Wayfarer. That's a fantastic draw. I think I want to play the library. Since he didn't play a guy on turn 1, I think I want to play library here. Obviously, if he does find a Weather Wayfarer, that's going to be terrible, but maybe we can find an Oath on the top. Off the top, that would be great. He's been killing it with his TerraGeddon deck. He's been doing super well with it. Fetch land and forest. Really want to be able to trigger this library here. Cycle Thicket. Ship turn back. Okay, that's really good for me. If we find the green source, I'm going to blow up that Plains. That's a green source, and I think I'm going to hold on to this Wasteland. So let's fetch, and I'm going to blow up the Plains. I'm way more scared of his white cards than I am scared of his green cards. We're sort of even in the green card department, but he's way ahead by having white. So as long as we can keep the white sources in check, we should be in good shape. Yeah, we're definitely blowing that one up as well. Thermokarst. Yes, please. I think I'm gonna actually keep all of these, because this actually answers my potential problems before they even show up. The question is, do I want to spend this turn playing a Sphere? And I don't think I want to do that, because I think that I want to just blow up the land, and then next turn I can go Thermokarst into Sphere, and that should put me really far ahead. So now even if he plays like an Nimble Mongoose or something like that, we can just Earthquake it anyway. He's got some green sources. There's an Oath. Let's draw the Oath and nothing else, I think. I think I'm just going to shuffle here. And I'm just going to port, actually, instead of blowing up the land. Because, I mean, I'm definitely going to Sphere. I don't want to blow up the land. Again, I want to save my... Actually, I can actually double Sphere. Yeah, let's actually do that. Yeah, that seems much better. So Double Sphere, this should lock him out of playing most stuff. Wasteland. I mean, we have an active library and he doesn't. So if he wants to play the Wasteland game, I am very into it. We can go down 1. But I don't think we have to. I think we just put both of these on top, play Treetop, Thermokarst, the green source. Because now we know we have an... Oh, I can't do that, actually. I think I just play out an Oath, then. Play out Oath, shift the turn back. Now he can't play creatures, otherwise I get a Terravore. And now next turn I'm going to start blowing up lands. I definitely want to make sure that I have some life to work with in case I need to sweep. We have so much LD. So put both of these on top. We're just going to Winter's Grasp, the green source. And then a Wasteland, the Core Haven. And then we have my opponent on a 4-turn clock here. They just go to discard. This turn we just get to swing. Discarding Armageddon. Yeah, that one's not gonna... Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, play that out. 1, 2. Activate Treetop. Activate Factory. Pump Factory. Swing for 6. It goes to discard. Discarding another Geddon. Yeah, we just got to do the thing here. So, Carplucent Forest. Activate Factory, 2-turn clock, sweet. Going on to game number 2. So we're playing a mirror match here. I think I want the Pyroclasms, definitely want the Furnace. Curse Totem doesn't do anything, Naturalize is interesting. Call of the Herd is also interesting, but I don't think this is what the game is about. I feel like the game is going to be more about Oath than it is about Call of the Herd. As is, we have to cut, I think I'm going to cut Spheres on the draw, bring in a Suran Orb. Actually, an Earthquake instead of Suran Orb. Earthquake actually answers his little guy. Earthquake is a big deal against Weather Wayfarer. I do have to watch out for stuff like my opponent's Phyrexian Furnace and Ray of Revelation. He also does have his own library, so I kind of want another Naturalize. Okay, what do we got here? This hand seems fine. It's bad against Ray or against Wasteland, but if he's Wastelanding himself to slow me down, then that means we probably have time to draw out of this. Probably gonna land the library before I land the Oath. My best draw is Mox Diamond. Put him moves to 6. Hey, yeah, that one. Pitching Core Haven. That's a good one. That's a pretty good one in this pseudo mirror, so then pitching it in the very first turn is kind of a big deal. Turn 1 library is huge. Mox? No. I think I'm going to lead on Factory here so that I have my green sources. But him getting to go turn 1 library, it's obviously a huge deal here. Would be surprised, yeah, I was going to say I would be surprised if they don't just pay 8. Just draw 3 and recover. Gonna tap my land and upkeep. Kind of annoying, but that's fine. Oath of Druids. It's not terrible. We're really gonna dodge Armageddon. And library is just so insane. Wasteland also pretty bad for us. At least they're not deploying any threats. Did find a land. That's fine. We're gonna play it out. We really want to dodge Armageddon. And turn 1 library. Really strong. With the green source to shuffle. Feels good, man. I mean, feels bad for me, but probably feels good for them. Okay. So, tap my land. I think I lead on Oath, and I hope that this works. The alternative is to just like Pyroclasm. This is the high risk, high reward line. If he doesn't find the Naturalize effect for the Oath, then I just take over. But, you know, Pyroclasm would be just like, okay, I cast the Pyroclasm, kill the Wayfarer, and then we just kind of go from there. I definitely cannot afford to play Library. I'm way too far behind to play Library. I don't think we can play that game right now. Yeah, that's the Ray of Revelation worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, that one. So I mean, we can still just play Library, just force the action that way. I imagine my Carplucent Forest is gonna get tapped now. Oh, tap the green source, interesting. Well, I think I'm just gonna Pyroclasm here. What we can do is we can just Pyroclasm and then deploy a port. It's bad if he has a second Wayfarer, but I have to bait out the Sylvan Library, unfortunately. There's an argument for holding the port there, because I may draw a Mox Diamond next turn. Goes ahead and pays some life. Now they have Threshold. No threat is huge. Them not playing a threat there is huge. Here probably should tap the port. Yeah, they do so. So I think we play Factory and just Winter's Grasp the port. So that gets rid of that issue. Next turn we probably go Library plus Oath, or if we find a green source we can go Thermokarst into Library plus Oath. We've been getting really lucky here. My best draw is probably Phyrexian Furnace, because I can just Furnace the Ray and then just go from there. If this got Armageddon here, this is terrible for me. Terravor's also pretty bad for me. That's a Furnace though. Okay, that's a big deal. Play Core Haven. Exile Core Haven, ding, and exile the Ray of Revelation. Play Oath. Hope this works. My opponent still has an active library though, so it's pretty likely for them to find an answer to this Oath of Druids. If we do get one Oath trigger, I think we're gonna be in really good shape though. Geddon, brutal. Okay, that's actually lethal. So that's the way to get around the Oath of Druids. Okay, game 3. Naturalize was kind of insane, wasn't it? So that Sylvan Library, I mean, do I actually want Surin Orb? I feel like I do want the extra Naturalize. I don't think I want Surin Orb. This is fine. I'm gonna keep the Pyroclasm effects. I think killing Wayfarer is way too important. Maybe I just want 3 and just keep the 1 Surin Orb. I could bring in Curse Totem, alternatively. The problem is we just kind of have to play assuming that they're not gonna get Armageddon, because if they ever get to Armageddon mana, we're gonna lose. So that puts us in a really awkward spot. Being on the play is huge in this kind of matchup. Can probably keep this. Turn 1, treetop, say go. Having access to Oath of Druids, pretty big deal. Another Mox opener. Turn 1 library. Devastating. Ooh, that's a good top deck. Yeah, we're gonna go after the library. Could have gone after the Mox, but that's just greedy. He can more than make up for that with the card disadvantage with the library. Let's just tap the white source here. It's nice here because my opponent may be thinking, oh, I'm gonna be safe from, you know, if they go for something, like for playing a creature or whatever, and then we can tap and just like drop two things. I'm gonna play out a Mox and pitch Karplusan Forest. Oh, I meant to attack for 2. Whoops. Okay, that was a mistake. I meant to attack for 2 there. So port the plains. The idea was to play around Armageddon. Does nothing. Interesting. I'm going to swing with this factory. Put the clock on. And we're playing around Armageddon here very nicely. Cycle Tranquil Thicket. Interesting that they would cycle the land when they're a little bit short on mana. More cycling. Tap the green sword. Oh, I should have tapped white. My bad. Anyway, doesn't matter. Actually, no. Tapping green is better. That seems fine here. I don't think I'm too worried about that. That's a big one. So now we can actually go Thermokarst, your green source, and then tap the white on upkeep. The reason I'm tapping the non-undiscovered Paradise land is that using the Paradise actually sets my opponent back on mana. So my goal here is to prevent them from doing something useful. Play another Mock. That is a little bit annoying. Or they're gonna do something. Maybe? No. Just activate Furnace. Library is big. Library is big. If they have any sort of artifact or enchantment removal, this is gonna force the issue. They can't let me untap with this. Interesting. Interesting that they will just use the Undiscovered Paradise for no value. Naturalize. Okay. Another Mox. Pitch in the Paradise. Thermokarst. Yeah, okay. Actually, no. We're just going to... We get to attack with treetop, which is just a little bit more damage. I don't need to blow up this land just yet. If my opponent wants to get in, they're gonna have to load it up themselves. They can get in here. Yep. I think we spend this turn playing Oath of Druids, and then we're gonna spend this turn naturalizing one of the Moxen. Yeah, let's play the port, because I don't want them to blow up my green source. Just gonna do this now. I do want to play around the second Armageddon, though. It is nice that this Oath just sitting here means that my opponent cannot mess around with like any sort of annoying creature. So I think we're actually pulling ahead here. Now they're gonna tap my port. Oh, they tap Factory. Interesting. Yep, okay. Play out library. Don't play out another land. My opponent could Cataclysm me here, which would be a little bit annoying. If they Cataclysm, though, I do get to draw off library. So at least we have that going on. Man, what an interesting game. Core Haven. Mulch. Beanie, Swords to Plowshares, Cataclysm. So they have Wasteland, Rishadan Port. Pretty good draws. We are at 20 though. And it looks like we're going to be able to trigger my library. Tap Factory. Another Mox is good. I think we just pay here. Just want to have this Terravor in hand, I think. So I can Oath into port. I could also play my own Terravor. Gives them an Oath trigger, which I'm not stoked about. I can just Karplusan Forest, the Core Haven. I think I'm going to do that. And if my opponent wants to continue playing this slow drawn-out game, I think I'm okay with that. Maybe I should have played a Mox instead of playing out the Karplusan Forest. We're still trading 2 lands for 3, so I think this is fine. Man, what a crazy interesting match. Wooded Foothills is not bad. Allows me to fetch. Yeah, so we're gonna fetch these away, I think. and just swing with the factory, I think. I do have the option of keeping the Oath Druids on top, just in case. If my opponents had Swords to Plowshares, they can use it here. Play second port, so now they're gonna be able to double port me. Definitely wanna shuffle, get a green source, which means they can tap my green source now, but I also just have mana, so it's fine. I wanna find the Naturalize effect to blow up one of these Moxen. Yeah, so they tap both of my meaningful cards, and now we can port them. Play port, shift the turn back, tap port on upkeep. The nice thing about porting here is that if my opponent wants to get in, like I'm forcing them to overextend. Maybe I should have paid some life while I had the chance there. I'm not sure. Treetop. If they tap my port, I'm gonna activate Factory. They tap my green source. Okay. Activate Factory because it's free. These cards are not doing it. Terravor on top, then Oath on top. I'm just gonna play out a Mox now. Pitch in Wooded Foothills, swing, and now we get to double port. Port Treetop. So they're just gonna use the mana to cycle. And then I'm gonna port one of the ports. White Source. They play their own library. Okay, now we got a game. Tap my Factory. I have nothing to use the mana on, so Terravor on top, Oath of Druids on top. I'm just gonna play out a Factory now. Then pass the turn. I guess I should have probably played another Oath there. Should have definitely played another Oath. My opponent can get on and we are as close to parity as we can. Like, we have the same life total. We both have library and a pair of Moxen. We're super even here. Really want to dodge Ray of Revelation, but even if we do find it, it's not the worst. Because we can just go Terravor into Oath. In fact, we can go Terravor into double Oath, even through a port activation. And that should play around my opponent's potential Swords to Plowshares. So yeah, I think I should have played an Oath this turn. They Cataclysm. Interesting. So they keep Mox, Library, and I imagine the Treetop. Yeah, so they keep Mox, Library, Treetop. So I'm going to keep Mox, Library, and I think Rishadan Port. Destroying the Oath means I now get to deploy the Terravor. Woxwain would be pretty devastating here. No Woxwain, that's good. Alright, also no land, notably. That's a big one. So I think I just play Terravor here. Terravor on top. Oath on top, play land, deploy Terravor. Even if my opponent has Plow, we gain 23, up to 32. No big deal. Crumble. That one's a pretty big deal. That one is actually quite a big deal. And Wayfarer. So now we're just gonna Oath. We could Oath into Wasteland. This means that if they spend their turn activating Wayfarer, that's gonna go pretty badly for them. Yeah, so let's go Terravor on top, Oath on top, and then Wasteland. Play Oath of Druids. Here we go. So now if they activate Wayfarer, they can't answer Oath. They need to have a land and an answer to Oath in the top 3 cards. Otherwise, we're gonna get a trigger. What a wild game. Look at that value. Look at that value. I guess they can go get a White Source. Yeah, they go get a White Source because I think that they're gonna allow me to trigger. They plow their own thing. Yeah, I'll take that. Well, I am at 31, right? So I just take all of these. We play out Treetop and just stop them on upkeep. I could play another Oath. This makes it so my opponent can't really do anything about this. Yeah, I think that's fine. Let's do that. I think I was at a high flight total the previous turn, so I should have definitely drawn 3 the previous turn. That was a mistake. I just missed the chance. I was just like narrow focused on something else. Another library. It's not quite gonna do it. Wasteland doesn't actually do much right now. I'm gonna put the Oath on top and I'm gonna pay for the other one though. Play out the Treetop. I guess I can just play out the Mox, pitch in Wasteland, pitch Treetop, play Treetop I mean. And I think I want to swing for 3. I want to make sure that I continue pressuring their life total. And the reason that I pitched the Wasteland instead of the Treetop is because I wanted to make sure that I'm gonna be able to pressure them even through Wasteland. Maybe that's wrong, and just being able to port them this turn is way too valuable, but I think this is fine. Yeah, my opponent's super limited on what they can do. What a crazy interesting match. Yeah, that's pretty good. That one's pretty good. Okay, do we need to pay for this? I think we can, so we might as well. The problem is, the issue now is whether do I destroy their thing or not. Because I can go Thermal Cars plus swing for 3. I think that's fine. I actually want to Thermal Cars the Plains. Here. And I think swinging is better than upkeep tapping them. Because this means that they're not going to have life to pay for library. Meaning that they can't, like, Clism, get on me, anything. And if they attack back with Treetop, they lose. So Armageddon is no longer an issue. Their own Terravor also not an issue. This one's definitely not an issue. And we should be good to go here. I know there's a Terravor on top of the deck, so there we go. Oh, I shuffled actually. Yeah, that's right. Forgot I shuffled. Big boy Terravor. We can also like play Suranor. It's pretty funny that we can actually just like not even allow them to not even allow them to do the thingy with Weather Wafer. I mean, they're actually dead right now, so it doesn't matter too much. But all right, that was a really good matchup. Crazy, really good stuff. Had a lot of fun. This is round number 3, and we have a fine hand, I think. Definitely hoping for another colored source, potentially some lands, and it's a fine opener though. Let's see what my opponent's up to. Basic Mountain into Grim. So my best draw would be, okay, I'm gonna play out the Foothills and ship the turn. So my best draw here would be Mox Diamond, I guess. The question is, I think I lead on Oath. That's gonna force my opponent to kill their own Grim Levimancer here. Ha! They have their own port, but that's not gonna do too much. Got him. Fetch land too strong. Okay, so they ship the turn back, and we're just going to land this Oath right now, since my opponent has already wasted their turn. This is gonna force them to like probably throw a burn spell at my face and then kill their own Grim Levimancer. So this should slow the clock down considerably. Then from there I can land this Sphere, and then with any green source we can start blowing up some lands. I mean, if they cannot kill this Grim Levimancer, that's gonna be really good for me. Would definitely love to see another green source, potentially. Mog Fanatic, okay. It's a nice clean 2-for-1 right there. Now we're gonna have an interesting question. So I can play my port and just port them on upkeep, or I can just play Sphere. I think I want to port them, because I can just stop their port, which allows me to then untap and blow up their port. So we do that. Wasteland. So if we play a Terravor now, we're looking at a 4-4. So I like that. Alternatively, we can just blow up the port. Like, my opponent cannot really pressure me, which is pretty nice. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna play a fetch land. And they didn't play a spell last turn. Yeah, I'm just gonna Thermokarst the port. Then we can blow up a mountain following turn, putting my opponent hopefully in an odd spot. Still not unclear on what my opponent's up to over there. The other option would be to just play my own Terravor and just give my opponent a look at a creature. The problem is that if they flip exactly... So if they flip exactly Ball Lightning, then that's pretty bad for me. So I think I want to do this instead. Blow up the factory. Now my Terravor is going to be a 7/7, and there's nothing my opponent can flip that I actually care about. Firebolt face. Barbarian Ring. It's kind of scary. So I'm at a virtual 7. So Lightning Bolt plus Fire Blast kills me. Here's the Terravor. My opponent can trigger Oath. I think I'm happy with this. Even if they get a Lava Man, I can just Earthquake it away. They choose not to, because that would grow the Terravor. Very interesting. We have the Naturalize for this, so we don't care about that. Thermokarst is a big up, so we're just gonna main phase, blow up the factory. Now we swing for 8, bolt phase. Okay, that's the last card in hand. So if they flip a Ball Lightning, we will lose. I imagine they're gonna go for the flip here. They decline. Maybe they're just not playing Ball Lightnings at all. So I guess we swing for 8, and then we Earthquake for lethal. They do not have enough lands for Lightning Bolt. I'm not missing anything in the graveyard. They have 0 cards in hand. There's only Firebolts down there. 8, yeah. And then I'll Earthquake for X equals 3 to not give my opponent another draw step. So they can bring me down to 1 by sacking the Barbarian Ring, but most definitely not 0. Game 1 up. Now, Suranor. Yes, please. Call of the Herd. Yes, please. And I think I want Furnace, but that's about it. Let's cut down on some libraries. And I guess my opponent's playing a weird version of Sly. They're playing a lot more lands that do stuff. So I guess I'm not like, I guess I'm on the draw, so never mind. I'm gonna cut the Winter's Grasp anyway, only because I'm on the draw. Like, I'm gonna be a lot more excited about them when I'm on the play. I definitely don't want Earthquake, even though it was actually good right there, locking up the game. I don't think that's gonna be the case more often than not. I do think Pyroclasm is good. I don't actually dislike Sylvan Library. I think Oath is a little bit medium. So let's bring in 1 extra Naturalize, and I guess 1 more Power. Actually, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to do that, so let's just bring in another Winter's Grasp. So Winter's Grasp, let's actually bring Library, 3 libraries. So the goal for Library here is just going to be Mirror's Guile. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. That's all that I really need, actually. We got Suranor, we got Pyroclasm. Yeah, this hand looks fine. My opponent kept 7, and yeah, this hand's good. Gitu Encampment. If I find the land, I'm going to Wasteland this. If I don't, I'm just going to play it with the Foothills. No, okay. Just play with the Foothills, pass the turn back. I'm really interested in resolving this library here. What a strange version of Sly. That's an interesting one. Basic Forest into Wasteland. This opens up Wasteland for my opponent, but it delays me from having to choose whether to get a basic a mountain or a basic forest. So I think we just drop a library. And I'm not going to expose Suranor just yet. I'm just going to ship the turn back, incinerate, yeah. I don't want to allow my opponent a good window to play Price of Progress, where I can't really do anything about it. Pillage, sure. I'm definitely happy that I resolved this library, but a little bit punished for not playing out the Suranor, because that would have at least given my opponent a choice. Another library, not what we want, and Thermokarst also not what we want. So we're going to have like a nice little clean fetch here. So let's play out Suranor and ship the turn back. If my opponent has another Pillage, that probably is bad for me, but 4 mana. Avalanche Riders. Wow, that's a card. Okay, so my opponent's in some sort of Ponza nonsense, actually. That's neat. Forgot to fetch, unfortunately. Yeah, let's fetch for a green source here. And put Thermokarst on top and Naturalize on top. Play port. I'm just gonna port my opponent. I guess I'm gonna port them on their draw step. I force them to choose whether they want to pay Echo or not. They don't, so I'm gonna tap the encampment. 3 mana for a Stone Rain. Going to sack that one, gain a couple of life. So they're just playing straight up Ponza, no Sly at all. Which means I'm gonna be a lot more aggressive with my paying life here. We definitely need to find a land, so I'm just going to pay 4. If they activate one of the factories, we can just shoot it down, which is nice. Ugh, Wasteland is devastating. Wasteland is super devastating there. Oh my god, that's super rough. Ah, they misclicked. Missed out on 2 points of damage. That may actually matter. That's a land, so I'll take it. I guess I probably want to dig a little bit deeper here. Play out my land, ship the turn. We probably cannot beat another land destruction spell. Yikes. It's getting rough out here. So my opponent attacks with factory, take 2. So many 3-drops. Oh, they can actually steal pump. That's nice. Yeah, I don't think this one's gonna go our way here. All right. I guess we just have to get lucky. I don't think I can actually afford to pay mana, to pay life there. We're a little bit too short. It's firing off the factories. The good thing is that if we find the green source, that's going to actually do a lot of work for us, because what that's going to do is that's going to force my opponent to choose how they want to attack. And if they choose to like go ahead and just pump factory a bunch, then I can take advantage of that. All right, so we did get there. Let's see if we can make it, be valuable. Because now I'm threatening, blocking, and pumping, so my opponent can't just attack with all the factories. Or maybe they are. Okay, so fetch. Gonna get a forest, activate and pump itself, going down to 1. Pyrokinesis, Pitching Dwarven Miner. Definitely not play around this one, I'll tell you that much. Okay, at that point I cannot win the race anymore, so. Alright, so yeah, we're playing a dramatically different deck, so we're gonna cut all of the Oaths, cut all the Pyroclasms, and I want libraries, and I want probably all the Naturalizes. I do have Spheres, which can be a little bit, not sure how good they actually are. Let's do 3 Spheres, 3 Naturalizes. Actually, let's do cut an Oath, bring in a Sphere. Cut a Grasp, bring in a Sphere. So I'm gonna be on the play now, and I can be more aggressive. Yes, we're gonna keep this one. Yeah, this hand seems quite strong. I think I want to lead on Treetop here, because if my opponent decides to Wasteland, that's just fine. Black Vice, I don't think that's gonna do too much. It's gonna deal 2 damage. So we play Factory, play Mox, Pitching, Karplusan Forest, Grasp the Factory. So now this Black Vice is not gonna do anything else for the rest of the game. Mog Fanatic, sure. It's a library. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna spend this turn playing out this library. This blanks the Fanatic attack. So this means they have an answer to the factory, but that's fine because that taps them out. Tap this and activate. And it needs to be like Lightning Bolt or Pyrokinesis or something like that. Like if they Pyrokinesis, I'm extremely happy about this. That's fine. It needs to be Lightning Bolt. They went face with the Mog, so they cannot Firebolt the factory. Second Fanatic, you got it. And that's definitely a great exchange for me. Black Vice doesn't do anything. Sphere is nice. We pay for both of these, play a land. Gonna play Call of the Herd and then the Sphere. And this is going to allow me to start getting a little bit more aggressive. Can still Pyrokinesis the Elephant, but not a great exchange for them. Getting yet another Elephant next turn. 3 mana to incinerate my Elephant. That's fine. Take 1. So I actually think I'm gonna Thermokarst the Barbarian Ring. Oh, that one also plays. Yeah. Let's play that one. Here's a Terravor. Do you want to play these? Do you want to continue playing this land destruction game? I'm into it. Go ahead. Let's play some land destruction spells. Another Mog. That's fine. Factory. Pyrokinesis, Pitching Firebolt. Plus the Mog Fanatic. That's fine to me. We just flashback Call of the Herd here. They still need to deal with a 3/3. We have 3 creature lands. So I'm virtual 9. So I do have to watch out for that. Put these on top, play land, play Call of the Herd. I do think that it's quite important to make sure that I don't take any unnecessary damage here. Let's see what we draw for turn, Naturalize. So we can Thermokarst the Gitu Encampment and play out Treetop, holding back Factory to block. I do feel like I need to start putting some pressure. Thermokarst Gitu, not necessarily concerned about the Factory. I'm at a virtual 7 as is. Opponent fires off. Activate Factory. So we're going to take 3. Good draw for them. Very good draw for them. I would love to draw another land destruction spell so that I can blow up the Barbarian Ring while they're tapped out. Hey, there we go. So grasp the ring. I don't think I can afford to take another hit, so I'm not going to attack this turn. I'm going to hold back 2 blockers. Can I draw Surin Orb? I do have Naturalize on top of the deck, which is nice, because that makes the Factory no longer an issue. Or I can just draw a Terravor. That one also plays. Now I am going to attack. We have 2 blockers, and now my opponent does not have access to the ring anymore, so my life total is not so threatened. Opponent takes the chump. They're still dead next turn anyway. Their hand could be Lightning Bolt into Lightning Bolt, but there's nothing I can do about that. I just lose to that anyways. But we do have lethal damage incoming this turn. So this fetch doesn't actually change the clock. I can still attack with both treetops. We swing for 6, 9 plus 9, 18. Opponent blocks here. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to like shoot myself because they're gonna block here, and then they're gonna take 6 plus 8, which is 14. So that's already lethal. Well, opponent packed it in, but I definitely big misclick there. All right, got there. So on to the finals. Here we are for the finals. This hand looks pretty solid. We have a pretty nice and disruptive hand. Early Terravor as well. Turn 1 treetop, shift the turn back. No idea what we're up against. Basic Forest. Basic Forest into nothing. I think I can work with that. If my opponent did nothing that turn, I imagine they're going to be doing nothing this turn as well. Oh, they already had Elves. Oof. Okay, so playing against Elves. I think I'm going to spend this turn just tapping my opponent on upkeep. We would love to draw a Noth. Would love to draw a Pyroclasm. Ugh, finding way too many basics over there. Finding way too many basics. Did not play a spell though. That's good for me for obvious reasons. So let's blow up the land this turn, and then we can play a Terravor next turn. Would love it if my opponent would play a Cradle. No, another basic. Fierce Empath. Oh, that's right. UBG has been playing the like food chain. Yeah, they've been playing like food chain elves. Yes. Verloth the Ancient. Oh, that's a pretty good draw. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They're currently going to have 4 mana. I think I actually want to just deploy this Terravor, and then I want to Earthquake. Like, that's obviously a fantastic draw, right? I want to Earthquake once I already have like a board state. Sylvan Messenger. So they did find a Deranged Hermit. So now we can... Oh, that's a pretty good one. We're going to blow up the land, I guess, now. Blow up a land, and now we get to port them on upkeep. I'm not going to attack because my opponent just gets to trade. Obviously not a good trade for me. Port here. And this Sphere, man, they have not missed a land drop. They play like 18 or at most 19 lands, and they have hit every single land drop. Very convenient in this specific matchup, I would say. I can Earthquake X equals 2. That's going to be 4 mana. I kind of don't want to play out this Forgotten Cave. I kind of want to cycle it. So I can do that and then port. Yeah, I'm just going to cycle. And I'm just going to deploy another Terravor, I think. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that one will do. So this should be good here now. So we're going to tap my opponent on upkeep, and then we get to Earthquake on the following turn. The idea here is that I want to just like swing with the Terravor and just clear the board. Just like have a big Terravor and just like be able to kill them on 2 swings and then Earthquake. That's what I'm aiming for. This Sphere of Resistance is doing an unreasonable amount of work here. Opponent plays another Symbiote, so they don't have good attacks. We're gonna get our Oath Trigger, and let's see what we get. Yeah, that's pretty good. So now my dudes are 13/13s, and now we Earthquake X equals 2, and opponent packs it in. Perfect. Game number 2. I do want Pyroclasms, obviously. I think that's it. So they're playing a weird version of Elves, so they're playing Food Chain, but I don't think that I really need that many Naturalizes. I feel like if my opponent is actually doing their thing, that's it, you know? Like, I don't think I'm going to be like doing that too much. I'm gonna cut a couple of Winter's Grasp, and maybe on the draw a Sylvan Library. and then just submit this. Yeah, my game plan is going to be that I want to just turn Food Chain into a dead card by just killing all of their creatures and not allowing them to get the engine rolling. This hand is, I think I'm going to keep it. I think this hand is actually quite strong. So we definitely need a green source, obviously. But if we find it, then this hand has everything that we need. And we still get to disrupt my opponent with Sphere and Port. Symbiote. I'm definitely going to lead on Sphere and Quirion Ranger. That's pretty good, actually. That makes my Winter's Grasp that much worse. Interesting. My opponent holding up mana. So we know that they have Naturalize in hand, because Quirion Ranger would allow my opponent to just Naturalize on my end step. So we know they have access to Naturalize. It's just going to be a matter of how do we not allow that to blow us out. Another Port is now what we're looking for. I wonder if my opponent is just not playing Cradles, because we have not seen a single one. Also, I should have held on to that Port. That was a pretty big mistake, actually. I should have definitely held on to that Port, because yeah, I think my opponent is here correctly playing around specifically Oath of Druids, so they're saving the Naturalize for Oath. But I think I'm going to try to Pyroclast them before I Oath. But yeah, so as I was saying, I should have held on to the Rishadan Port, because having the extra Port doesn't really do anything. And not only that, but also if I draw a Mox, now I'm not going to be able to fix my mana situation. Opponent continues to get in there. I'm going to play Food Chain for 3 mana. Oh, they just have 4. So they probably have the Ringleader Goblin, 5 mana. Hermit. Alright, I need a red source kind of quickly. Not quite what I was hoping for, but it's okay. Am I just dead? 9, 10, 11. I'm not just dead. Not yet, at least. I still have 1 turn to draw Pyroclasm. To draw a red source for Pyroclasm, I mean. So this... Oh, they actually bounced the Hermit, so that makes sense. They couldn't pay the Echo. So it's only going to be an attack for 6, and then we get to reset the board, and we can actually do that twice. Can I find the red source? Yes, I can. So I'm just going to Earthquake for 1. This resets the board, allows me to tap, doesn't allow my opponent to use their mana efficiently. It only killed the Symbiote though. You can see how much value my opponent was able to get from that. They're finally going to fire off the Naturalize on the Fear. Makes sense. So now we're going to tap the land, play Finhorn, play Quirion. And another Wastelands, not great. So if they have the big guy, the Birdeloth, then that's kind of bad for me. But I do get to like Library plus Oath here, plus tap them. I think I want to take the risk. I want to force them, because I know one of their cards in hand is a Hermit. So I want to force them to... just have a specifically Birdeloth. Okay, so no, Naturalize is huge. We tap them on upkeep, and then we're going to get an Oath trigger. Then next turn we take 2. Then we untap, we Pyroclasm, and we're going to Pyroclasm with a big boy in play. Here comes the Hermit. We don't care about it. We already have the answer for that one. Take 2 down to 4. Yes, Oath trigger, baby. Woof. Okay, good. So we no longer have any Spheres, and we only milled 1 Pyroclasm. All thermal cards are gone. That's funny. But yeah, this is a big boy. So all of these cards don't really do anything. So I think I'm just gonna keep the Terravore. We just Plasm plus double Port. I hope should be enough to get there. Opponent does get an Oath trigger. I don't think I naturalized my own thing though, right? Just Oath being in play is such a big deal. Priest is hopefully not going to be enough. Notably, this Terravore is actually deceptively larger than a 14/14 because I could double Wasteland myself. That's 4 more lands going to the graveyard, plus I can Winter Grasp their land. So this is actually a bigger boy. Interesting. So they're just YOLOing and hoping that I cannot kill them in a single swing. Makes sense. It's kind of what they have to do in this situation. So that's 16 now. Gonna put those back on top. So this is 16. I blow up a land. 17, 18, 19. Yeah, we can force plenty of chump block here. Blow up the land, Wasteland, my Port, and Wasteland, my red source. So this forces the triple chump. Funnily enough, because all the lands are in our graveyard, we would die to a Tormod Script, which is hilarious. Because usually Tormod Script is not that good against this deck. But in this specific scenario, under these specific circumstances, that is actually the case. I get a Llanowar Elf, and unless they can put multiple haste power into play, this should be... There we go! This should be a win! Perfect. We got there. Wow, this deck continues to overperform. Even in the meantime, while I was recording this, which was recorded over the process of a couple of weeks, I played an event this past weekend here in LA, and I took it down with a very similar list to this one. This deck is just spectacular. I just feel like it is kind of the ultimate version of the Terravor decks, like the Elves Terravor decks. It kind of fixes all of the deck's problems almost. It is, you know, I'm only splashing for Pyroclasm and Red Elemental Blast, but like that's it. Like that's all that you really need, because all of the other angles are kind of covered by the rest of the shell, which is honestly a remarkable thing. I think we may be just looking at the best deck in the format, like just straight up. It does have some key weaknesses. Like I do expect an uptick in cards like Sabos Web, for example. I think that card is very problematic for this deck. In fact, in the list that I played in the event, I moved the Pyroclasm for the Cyber to the main deck in place of the Earthquake. Unfortunately, the Earthquake is not where it's at as much as I wanted it to. Yeah, so I did that, and I added an extra copy of Crumble to my sideboard. Sabos Web and even a deck like the 12-12 deck can sometimes be a problem for this deck. So there are some pretty good ways to just fight this deck, but they are fairly specific. The good thing is they're, you know, Sabos Web is colorless, so like a bunch of decks can play that card if they want to. I do expect an uptick in that, as I was saying. So yeah, this deck is just spectacular and just continues to overperform. I'm very impressed by it, and yep, there we go, taking down another showdown. So that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video, folks. Take care. Bye bye.